Yes, I was there for more than 2 years, and I was mainly addressing the risk communication, community engagement part of the response. That entailed, first of all, understanding what the community's perceptions are regarding the disease, identifying the risks together with the communities, and helping them to take action in terms of behavior change. The main lessons, as far as I can see, is that we need to be prepared. We don't have to wait for outbreaks. I would encourage that countries have risk communication plans and strategies which they continuously monitor and implement, not to wait when disaster strikes. So we need to work closely with the communities to promote those interventions which are positive and they are likely to prevent future serious outbreaks, and again work with them to identify strategies to reduce on the impact of some of these risks.
It started with the catastrophe that happened in West Africa, the Ebola pandemic, around 2014, 2016. Some of the experts who went to West Africa were deployed from our region. So when they came back, they gave us the lessons they learned from the other side. And it is those lessons that informed us on developing our own regional risk and crisis communication strategy.
They came up with lessons learned. I think you can't have better lessons learned because they come from the ground, from their experience. And they said, involve the media from the beginning. Involve the communities. Only when we succeeded in reaching the communities in West Africa were we able to turn the tide of the outbreak.
Risk communication is a continuous process. You have to do it before, during, and after an emergency. According to the design of the field simulation exercise, we had two areas of community engagement. The first was we had the Maasai women who sell their own self-made jewelry, which they target the travelers who are crossing the border. And in one of the scenes was a bus that was carrying a sick tourist. And the disease is quite dangerous. So the women were informed that they could be infected from the travelers, the traveling tourists. So they were advised that in case the health officials raise an alarm that there's an outbreak in the area, they ought to suspend their business. In the second area, we had the community itself being addressed by religious leaders at the health facility. You know, the religious leaders command great respect and they are accepted by their own people. So during the community baraza, or what they call a community meeting, the religious leaders addressed the communities with messages about the disease. They were giving them messages on what to do and what not to do in order to prevent the infection, or in case they detect the infection, they should quickly report the cases to the health workers. Yes, the religious leaders incidentally were quite helpful, acceptable to help. Actually, they told us that their role to the community is to serve. So them being engaged and moving as messengers and also as mediators between the community and the technical people, for them they felt it was an honor and a privilege because they were saving lives.
Baada ya kuona kwamba ugonjwa yoyote, ndio natafuta mkutano ya haraka iwezekanavyo, kwamba kila mtu peleke ripoti kwa ngazi inayohusika haraka sana bila kuchelewa. Kama ni hospitali, apeleke hospitali. Kama ni veterinary serikalini kwa ajili ya mifugo, aende huko. Kama kiongozi ya muda mrefu tumejitahidi kufanya mambo nyingi ili watu waone kwamba kama nasa hata kuiga mfano kama ana ya shule. Tumesema kwamba nakuja kutoa hamasa ili watu waelewe, tumia maelezo ya wataalamu, kwa sababu ugonjwa akitaka kuruka haiwezi kupiga passport na kwenda.
Namanga border is a Maasai community area, and you were able to bring in the Maasais. They participated fully. They are now aware that they cannot just get an animal, then have it and eat it. They have to get a veterinary maybe to check the meat if it's good enough for consumption. So those who participated are aware, and they are able now to go and sensitize their own relatives and neighbors around. So it was very necessary, and the sensitization has been done.
Community is critical if we are going to respond to any emergency successfully. We can't do it without the community. They need to be as mainstream of the simulation exercise, and without them we are doing a disservice. But more critically, getting our communities to own this process, because when they own it, it means that they will run when they hear there's an emergency, when they have knowledge. And we've learned that when people know, when they have been given the responsibility, they act better than when someone else is coming to tell them to do it. Any simulation exercise should have a component of risk communication, of community engagement. So let's test the community and see how they react, because there will be rumors, there will be all sorts of things, but let's test and see how they respond before we start engaging them, before we start giving them solutions. Find leaders, we had community leaders, and train them on any emergency outbreak, so that when it happens, we know who we are heading to, who are we going to work with, you know.
Nothing for us without us in terms of the community engagement and accountability. But the community is key in disease outbreak control, and they are the ones that we have to find out how they would cope even long after we are gone. Right?
Upande wa jeshi kushiriki mazoezi kama haya, nimejifunza kwamba tunahitaji kuwa pamoja na raia katika kuzuia magonjwa au kufanya mazoezi ya namna hii kwa pamoja.
The main and big lesson for me from the field simulation was that everybody must be on board as far as risk and crisis communication is concerned, because we, the communicators, we don't develop our own messages. The messages that we disseminate come from the other technical staff. So if the technical staff do not appreciate the role of risk and crisis communication, then we also fail. One of the cardinal principles of risk and crisis communication is timeliness, giving information in a timely manner. Secondly, it requires being truthful. So some officials tend to hold back. So you have got to, from time to time, sensitize them and inform them on the importance and the benefits of risk communication. Because if you give wrong information, you will lose confidence and trust from the public. I would strongly advise that the partner states adapt and adopt these principles, because they can be applied at any level. While we were developing ours, we were focusing on One Health and communicable diseases. But I'm happy to say the principles therein can also be applied to non-communicable emergencies and also non-infectious emergencies like maybe fire outbreaks or floods. So the tools are quite robust. As a way forward, I would like to appeal to the EAC Secretariat to strongly consider establishing positions for risk and crisis communication at the EAC Secretariat, because this is the only way we can make risk and crisis communication sustainable in the EAC region.